Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a topic that early on in my professional career I would have said has very little importance. 11 years later, fishing at the professional level, my response to this question is drastically different. And before I get into the topic, I just want to point out, guys, that if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, you should do that. It gets you entered into my monthly giveaways for sponsor prizes. There's really no reason not to subscribe if you watch these videos on somewhat of a regular basis. We got videos that come out every day, lots of tips, lots of good information. I personally think you should subscribe. Anyways, okay, so today's topic. I get asked all the time, when you're fishing at the professional level, is there any reason to fish for a limit? Meaning, if you're fishing a 5-fish tournament, should you fish for just 5 fish? And early on in my career, I would have said, you know what, if you're fishing for a limit, it doesn't really do you any good. Like, if you're going to catch 5 and they're the 5 smallest size fish, you're not going to cash a check. In the majority of tournaments, 5 fish will not cash a check. But at this point in my career, when I look back, early on for me, my first 3 years, I was really spinning my wheels. I was working a full-time job and trying to fish professionally. And my first 3 years on tour, I finished right in the middle of the pack. I was in the 70s. I think I was like 75th to like 85th in points all 3 years out of, 160 guys. So right in the middle of the pack, which honestly for, a rookie and somebody who is coming, getting basically not a fresh start, but just starting at the professional level, there's some people that would be satisfied with that. I think I cashed 3 checks each of those years. So from a winnings to entry fee standpoint, I was kind of breaking even. But I got to tell you, after that third year, with like a couple tournaments to go in that third year, I really was questioning whether I should continue to fish or not. I finished the third year, I think, with a couple tournaments left, I was really questioning it. I ended up having 2 really good finishes to end that third year. And it, rejuvenates you, it makes you feel good. You're ready to go to fish the following season. And one of the things that I did at that point is I sat down, I looked at my first 3 years from a tournament perspective, my finishes. How many of those events did I weigh a limit every day? How many of those events did I not? And I think each year there were probably, I'm going to say 4 days a year where I did not weigh a limit. I may have weighed 4 fish or 2 fish, whatever it was. I then went back and said, okay, if I gave myself a minimum size keeper to fill my limit on that day, how would that have changed the results? So I went through, and if it was in Florida and we were fishing for 12-inch fish, I gave myself, if I was short 1 fish, I gave myself 1 12-inch fish equal to roughly 3/4 of a pound. I then went back and looked at the results. How far would that have moved me up? And by the end of the year, for all 3 of those years, I would have finished like right on the cut line for the championship. I would have been like 1 fish out. And had I replaced one of those fish with a 2-pounder, I would have been inside of the championship cutoff. So I would have gone from middle of the pack at the end of the year standings, in roughly 80th place, say, to inside the top 40, I think is what it was. So that just shows the importance throughout the course of a circuit as to how important it is to make sure that you finish each day with a limit. And at that point, at the end of the year, those few extra points will really add up. Now, if you're fishing a 1-day tournament, an open event, I wouldn't say you want to necessarily fish for a limit. And just to be clear, I don't fish for a limit when I go out in these tournaments. I'm fishing for the best quality fish that I know how to catch. But at some point throughout the day, if an opportunity arises to catch a limit or to fish for a limit fish, I will do that now and spend the few minutes to try to capitalize on that. So as an example, let's say, you're fishing a bed fishing tournament and I'm going down the bank and there's a, you know, like let's say at Lake Murray, and I can't say I did this, but I would have done this later on in the day. Let's say it's 12 o'clock. You got a few hours left in the tournament. You got 4 fish, and you come across a small keeper fish that's, you know, relatively easy to catch on a bed, or, you know, you see him cruising along. I'm going to spend a few minutes to fish for that fish. Just to secure a limit, and then I'll continue going back with what I'm doing. Or maybe I'm fishing a place where there's small schoolers, and I feel like, you know what, if I swing in here, I can catch 1 or 2 keepers that'll fill out my limit. They're not going to do much probably in terms of moving me up in this tournament to like a check range. But again, at the end of the year, after 6 or 7 tournaments, if that one limit fish moved you up, say, 7 or 8 places during the course of that tournament, may not have been enough to get you paid. But after 6 or 7 tournaments, those 6 or 7 places are 40 to 50 end of year points that can move you up inside, say, the championship cutoff, or, you know, just higher up in the standings. So guys, it is really crucial, in my opinion, if you are fishing a circuit of some form, to make sure that you secure a limit of fish every day in the tournaments that you fish. I know in that one tournament, it really probably won't feel like it's doing you much good, but by the end of the year, I can assure you it will matter. It doesn't matter if you're fishing at the professional level or the local level. Guys, if you go back, evaluate your stats, look at your finishes, and say, you know what? When I fished this tournament, I didn't catch a limit. Let me see where it would have put me. It has an impact. It really does. It's an important thing. So, you know, at this point, my answer to this question is a limit important? Absolutely, it's important. You don't ever want to come in short with a fish. It's never gonna be a benefit to come in with less fish than you need. So if you are provided with the opportunity throughout the day, try to take advantage of it, secure the limit, go back to doing what you were doing at that point. You know, I can't say like there's specific things that I will do, like fishing lures or patterns that I'll do to catch limits. Because again, I'm not saying you should change your day to secure a limit. I'm just saying if you are presented with the opportunity to catch a fish that will help you fill a limit, you should take advantage of it and spend the few minutes that it's going to take. So I hope this was helpful, guys. You know, if you've got certain baits or certain techniques that you think are really good for catching limits, throw it in the comments section. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are watching this that will want to learn from the video and try to figure out how to catch a limit faster. And if that's the case, leave some comments, like it. If you enjoyed the video, share it on your social media pages. And I just appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. We got new videos coming out every day. Thanks.